Welcome everybody, welcome to Making Money in the Markets with VectorVest. My name's Russell Markham and it's a pleasure to have you along today. So we'll get you the recording as well to this. It'll be put onto YouTube. Here I am live, and today I want to talk to you about ETFs. We're going to go find some top ETFs, exchange traded funds. They're like a basket of stocks effectively listed on the ASX under a ticker code, and it's almost like buying like a mini managed fund, just like you would buy a share, but instead of owning one share, an ETF might have several hundred in some cases shares in that ETF. So what I'll do here is I'll transition across. Before we get going, please note our license numbers there, and we are licensed to give general advice only. So any advice given is general, and you'll need to speak to your financial advisor for any personal financial advice. And as always, past performance is no guarantee of future results. All right, as long as we're all clear with that, let's get going. So I'm going to cut straight to the chase today. So in VectorVest, I've gone to the Viewers tab, and within Viewers, we have the ETF viewer. Phenomenal. Makes life so easy. I can go and find all the best performing ETFs. And here we are. We track 362 currently. All right, so at a click of a button, I can see the best ETFs up at the top of the list. So these are the ones that are moving up the best, and these are the ones that are not performing as well down the bottom of the list. So straight away, all the information is here. So now all I need to do is to simply go and start to have a look at some of the top ETFs. So what I could do, for example, is if I went back, let's say I'll go back to, I don't know, let's say the start of November. So going back just a week or two ago, go to the start of November, a couple of weeks ago, and if I was just to grab the top 10 and just run a quick test on them. So I'll just say if I bought the top 10 a couple of weeks ago, how would have they performed? Right, so these were the top ones. The market has started to roll over. So one or two perform, but the rest are starting to fall away. So just a caution on this, just as we get going here. Pay attention to VectorVest's market timing. All right, so you can see here, this was one of our most conservative timing signals. Let's put the most conservative one here, our confirm signal. Don't worry about all this for now. There's an entry point into the market. Good time to be looking to go into the market, as we noted to our subscribers on 1 May 2025. And subsequently since the 5th of November, we said, be careful. The market is starting to roll over. Okay, so that's why some of these ETFs are sort of coming off slightly. But with that said, let's go and see right now. All right, so what's the date as of time recording here? 10 December, but we update that at the end of each day. So I'll go to the 9th of December. By this evening, the 10th of December's information, of course, will come through. So the 9th of December, as of the 9th of December, here are some of the best ETFs in Australia. We sorted by this indicator called VST. It looks at value, safety, and timing of those ETFs. And again, I don't want to sort of inundate you with information overload. Suffice is to say, I'll just bring this across just to make it nice and easy to see. These ETFs on average are moving up the best, on average. All right, so if I come in on a graph, the first couple here, all right, you can see over here, you can see the trend. Let's just clean this up and make it nice and simple. All right, just the price. There we are. That's the price, left to right price patterns. All right, moving up nicely. All right, really moving up nicely. And if I just grab, say, these ones here currently, as of 9 December, just grab a few, and let's just quick test that. Let's say the top 5. I'll just go back a week or two. All right, so here are the top ones right now. And if I just go back, let's say a week, how they performed in the last week. Let's run the test. You can see here, just over 1% on average. So these are some of the better ones right now at this point in time. Now, what I want to do is I want to compare some of ththese top ETFs, and then we can go and benchmark them against some other stocks that you may have considered over the years. And so to do that, I'm going to graph the first one. This is a silver ETF. Silver cracked the $50 mark. Was it $50 an ounce? I think it is. And silver's been rocketing up. What gold's $4,200 an ounce. So gold and silver are moving up at the moment. You can see here another one. Cure is a biotech company. Clever ticker code. It's obviously medical type stocks. another metal miner, copper. So the copper price is moving up. You might have seen that in recent times. What's it these days? About over $4 a pound, US dollars a pound of copper. There's a battery one with the ever-growing presence of electric motor vehicles. Lithium sort of fell away in price, and everyone said, well, there's not that much demand, but we've seen in recent times lithium prices starting to rocket up, and a lot more interest back into the battery type stock. So you can see these starting to pick up. So you get the idea. Semiconductor one here. So it's all here at the top of the list. Now, what I'm going to do, I'll graph the first one. And in VectorVest, I'm going to go on the drop down where it notes stock. I'm going to go and put in performance. All right. So this is the performance graph. And this is benchmarked against the commodity ETFs. I'll take this one here off for now. And I'll make this one jump out. Okay. So there we are. That's the silver one, and then I've listed the other ones that were in the list. All right, so there's Cure, there was GMTL. I'm putting in .ax because it's for Australia, so VectorVest knows it's for Australia. Wire, ACDC, the battery one. What else did we have? We had the semiconductor one, XMET. We're going to go and see how they all stack up against each other for a bit of fun. ETPMPM, is that the one there? Another precious metal one. IKO, IKO, and IACT. Enter. All right, so I've plugged them all in, and I'm going to now put them onto the graph. I'll change the way they look because it's a little bit difficult to see, a bit skinny, some of those lines. Not enough information IACT to benchmark against the others, so I'll just take that off for now. It looks like it's only been recently tracked here by VectorVest, probably only just been listed in recent times. So I'll just make them jump out a bit more just so we can see them. All right, so let's see Wire. That's an interesting one there too. You'll see what I'm doing. I'm now going to go and benchmark that against one or two popular stocks in Australia. And we're going to go and have a look. Would you have been better off, with the wisdom of hindsight, of course, would you have been better off to have bought the ETF or to have bought the stock, a given stock? And so we're going to go and benchmark all that. All right, so I think I've done just about all of them. This one as well. I'll just make that jump out. Hopefully you can see it. It's clear on your screen. So to show you what I'm doing here, so if I go back a year, if all these ETFs were starting off at 0% returns, how have they performed since? You can see, right, going back a year, what was that, December last year, right through until now, you can see what's the top performer. It looks like is that the silver one, ETP MAG. Look at that, it's up 80%. So it's done 80%. Followed by IKO, the ETF, followed by XMET, all right, and then followed by ACDC. I think that one I didn't, jumps out a bit better, all right. You can see some amazing returns. Anything over, 15% is pretty decent, but even the worst performer, Cure over here, it's done just on 20% returns, just on 20, or is it bang on 20? So look at that. And then the next worst one was 40%, the semiconductor one. So you can see why ETFs are becoming so popular, and VectorVest helps you to identify those top performing ETFs. So you can start tracking them each and every day to see how they perform. Now, what I like to do then is, let's see here, let's go back 5 years. Now this does take a bit of horsepower, so to speak, a bit of crunching. So VectorVest database crunches it. We're just going to give it a few seconds. It's going to go back 5 years. Right, there's the starting point. I think this now gives us a very clear idea, because, the last 12 months been fairly decent in the share market on average. But what about over a longer time period? And you can see here, Cure, it was the worst performer over 1 year. It did 20% returns over the last year, but over the last 5 years, it's actually below zero. So I don't know what it is. It looks like it's about -5 to 10%. But thereafter, you can see here, what's this one? GMTL done, what's that? Looks like about 20 odd %. All right. So you get the idea. So they're pretty decent. They've all actually performed pretty well. Who's been our top one? Silver again. Was that the silver one? Is that the silver one? ETP Mag. I think that's the silver one. Let's go and double check. It's the top one up here. Look at that. Interesting. And yep, it's the silver one, right? So right now, as of December 2025, it's our top ranked ETF in the VectorVest system. And so you can see, look at that. It's done well over 150%. All right. Followed by, where was it? This is one here, this white one here, semi. So semiconductor one. Done, it looks like about 120%, 130%. All right. Followed by ETPM PM. I think that's the precious metals one. It's probably got a bit of gold and silver holdings in it as well. So there you go. Very, very impressive. You know, even XMET over here is done just on 50%. So I'm looking at this going, XMET, not sure what they do. What do they do? Let's find out. Energy Metals, let's right click. View full stock analysis report. Let's see, is there a bit more into it? All right. No, so it's just energy transition metals. So I might need to go to the website and dig a bit deeper. What are energy transition metals, whatever that is? All right, so you might want to go to the beta shares and look them up and see what it entails. But nonetheless, it's been a high performer. Right, so now the question that comes down to, well, that's interesting, but you know, how would that have stacked up against, you know, some of the traditional stocks that I own? And let's find out. What if I were to have also held BHP? All right, how did BHP stack up? There's BHP. All right, it's this one here, the second worst performer if we were to benchmark it all. All right, or what if I was to have held CBA? Now, bearing in mind, these ETFs may not necessarily pay a dividend. In fact, most of them don't. So it's not really fair to compare that apples to apples, because it doesn't take into account the dividends and franking credits. But having said that, you know, dividend franking credits are certainly not going to go anywhere near to some of these top performing ETFs when factored in. It practically, BHP's gone nowhere over the last 5 years in terms of capital growth. But of course, you get the pretty decent dividend and franking credits. So maybe it pushed it up to, you know, maybe an 8 or 9% on average return, as opposed to practically a zero return. CBA, well, CBA is pretty decent. Look at that. I'll make it yellow there, and let's make it jump out. Now we're talking. That's a bit better. All right, so CBA, what's that? It's done about 70-80%, and then if you factor in the pretty decent dividends and franking credits, it's probably right up there. So CBA would be neck on neck with some of the best performing ETFs after factoring in the dividends and franking credits. So that I'll leave that one on there, because that's impressive. All right, and so, you know, you come in and you start looking, well, what if I was to have held Fortescue Metals? All right, well, there's Fortescue Metals down the bottom there. All right, what if I was to have bought Rio Tinto? I mean, that would have been probably similar to BHP. No, a little bit better. What about... See, it's interesting, because now this is the opportunity cost of your money, right? What about if I was to have got Westpac Bank, have bought Westpac Bank instead? All right, well, that's pretty decent. WBC along with CBA, and then if you factor in the dividends and or franking credits, it pushes you right up sort of there, or neck on neck. So banks have certainly held up, but we don't always just necessarily want to buy and hope on and hold and hope that the banks perform. Hopefully this is giving you a couple of other ideas via the power of ETFs. All right, so interesting. Now I'll throw a bit of a curveball here. So for those who follow me as VectorVest subscribers, you'll know this one. Pro Medicus was one I held a couple of months back for a couple of years. Here we go. Look at that. Boom. So this sort of dwarfs everything else. You know, it's just interesting, but it's been very volatile in recent times. Right, the blast off phase sort of was to there, and then it's sort of come off since. We'll have to wait and see what's up next as to whether it continues. All right. So you get the idea. The benchmarking will effectively ensure that you're getting the most for your money. And maybe you're holding on to a stock that's sort of falling behind. And you might be saying to yourself, well, I own BHP, there's BHP. Has it performed well enough? What about the other opportunities that were available to me? And again, only you can decide. I can't give you personal advice. You need to speak to your advisor in terms of what's right for you. All right. Maybe you're happy holding BHP because you're getting a pretty decent dividend and franking credits. All right. Again, I can't tell you what you can or can't do. Only your personal advisor can. So just from a general advice perspective, I'm just saying, that there have been a lot better performers in BHP in recent times, for example. One last thing I'll leave you with here. We have a trading system viewer, and I know I've shown you this a few times in the past. If you haven't been to this YouTube channel before, you might not have seen it, so it's worth repeating. But VectorVest tracks a couple of key trading systems. We're not fund managers. We're not brokers. We don't manage your money. We're not licensed to manage your money. We build these for educational purposes, and then you can decide if you like any of these, and then you can decide whether you want to follow any of these. What I'll do here is I'm going to have a look. So high momentum, near perfect indicator system. So I click on the VectorVest system. It then gives me a bit more insight into it. And then I can scroll down a bit more, and then, okay, these are the stocks being held. APZ, CWP, CB. All right, so why don't we plug some of these? So I'll put this onto another screen. I'll plug these into our benchmark for a bit of fun. All right, so here we go. So I've taken it as of one of the top performers, and I'm going to go back to my graphs. Now, where was my graph? I'll just double check. Oh, I might have closed that out. Doesn't matter. We'll do another one. Let's just graph the first one here, APZ. So, you can load one of these graphs up in VectorVest, and then you can go to the performance graph. Whoop, there we are. There's my performance. All right, so there's APZ. So I can put that one on. Let's go back 5 years. There we are. Have I done it right? Push OK. Yep. Go back 5 years. Let's have a look. So this gives me an idea, because this now comes directly out of one of the top trading systems, and we can then have a look. So what I'm doing is I'm plugging these in. So APZ, CWP is the next one. Right, so CWP. What else has it got in that trading system there? I'll just maximize this. It's got CBO, MYG. Right, so CBO, MYG. It's got SKS. It's got tier GDX. Enter. Okay. So plug those in. So this is a trading system that VectorVest has been showing us. And now you get an idea. So, you can get some further ideas. And so I come and do this often. All right, what's performing? Tell me a bit more. Let me see if I can investigate a bit further. And so I love doing this because it shows me what opportunities are out there. Not all these will be my cup of tea. I might go, no, I'm not really interested in that type of stock, but it gives me an idea. I remain informed. I go, my goodness, look at that. Look top on there. So over 5 years, it's done over 2,000% returns. Well, would I be comfortable owning SKS? I'd need to go and have a look. Let's take this off because it's sort of distorting the graph a bit. But we can see here over the last 5 years, look at these. It's about 150. This one's just on 200. And then the remaining two here are over 300% returns. All right, this one here, I haven't quite got enough information going back over time, so I'll take tier off. I'll just remove it. So, and this one here as well hasn't quite got 5 years. So I'll take CBO off as well. Now I can compare apples with apples. There's the starting point. There are the respective returns. Okay, and so, I get an idea and they go, okay, well, that was interesting. What about the next one? And so I'll come into the next trading system here. And here I'll then do the same exercise. So I'll just plug those in. I'll do just quickly here. Let's plug those ones in. So I'll go back to the graph. All right, and I'll just quickly plug those ones in. That was the second trading system. All right, so QRI, I'm just putting the ones that were listed: SSM, SIG, WAR, and WQG. All right, there we go. And press enter. Now I can go and plug those in. And so it's just a matter of going through the different trading systems, and you just start to get some ideas as to what's performing. And so once I've plugged them all in, I might go through 3 or 4 of the trading systems to get the ideas, and then I'll go, okay, well, you know, let's see what's performing. This one's sort of going sideways, so I might actually just take this one off for now. And well, this one's a laggard down the bottom, and so is that, and so is that, and so is this. They're not going as well as the others, so I'll remove those. These look pretty good. That's done 100%. The trend's going up. That's about 150% trends going up. This is over 300%, and so is the other one. So I might go, oh, these might be the ones I want to look at. Right, well, historically that was interesting, but what about more recently? Because if I'm buying now, I'm not going to go to look to buy in now. I need to know what's really happening now. The past was good, but what about now? Don't know about you, but MYG, too much volatility and falling. So I might just take that out. Okay, that looks a bit better. Trend looks pretty decent. This one is probably a little bit lumpy. So I'll take out GDX. Oh, there we are. These are 2 I might investigate. PRN and APZ. Right, makes life interesting, right? And so now you can be informed with other opportunities. And so let's plug that against CBA. There's CBA, and they're the other 2. All right, so it gives you an idea, the power of benchmarking. You know, how hard is your money currently working for you? Are you happy with the way some of your stocks or ETFs are going at the moment? If not, come and do the exercise. Hop into viewers, go to the ETF viewer, pull out some of the top performing ETFs, plug them into your performance graph. Go along to the trading system viewer, load up a couple of the key trading systems that are of interest to you. We've even got a couple of ETF ones here. All right, so look at this, best AU ETF supercharged. All right, and get all your ideas, and then get further ideas. Look at that, pretty decent. And so if I come into here, I'll plug those in. The last thing I'll do before wrapping up, let's go back to graphs. And what I'll do now is I will plug in those ETFs. All right, so give me a sec here. Here we go. All right, so QFN, IVV, IJR. These are the ETFs in that trading system. DFND. Oops, DFND, defense stock. ETF, should I say VTS? VTS. All right, plug them in. So I can now put those in. How do they stack up? All right, so I'm looking at all these here. Well, yeah, they're okay, but much prefer these ones at the top. So no, I'll leave those out for now. You're informed. So 2 pretty decent ones to look at. And so once you've then identified it, why not take a closer look? APZ, that jumps out for whatever reason. It's performing. Oh, look at that. Earnings are going up. 12-month leading forecast earnings. Look at the share price. Net profit margin making about 40 cents for every $1 of sales. Pretty decent. Looking to grow their earnings by 7%. More and more sales are kicking in. Looks a pretty reasonable stock for now. But again, I can't advise you personally. Speak to your financial advisor for personal advice. But there it is, using benchmarking. That one there jumps out quite a bit. APZ might be one you want to take a closer look at. All right, so there we are. The power of using those performance graphs, the power of VectorVest. Hope you got a lot out of it. We'll see you next time. Until next time, bye for now.